look at that. It's an Easter Day episode drop. Welcome to the Bad Millennial podcast. I'm your host, Liz, and in this podcast, we're going to be talking about all things related to being a millennial in today's world. I appreciate you tuning in to the first ever episode of Bad Millennial. Even if it's only one listener, and that ear definitely belongs to my mom, thank you so much for being my first listeners and tuning in to hear a complete stranger talk to herself. As Beyonce would say, I love you deep. But let's fix that and get to know each other. I work in marketing in the tech industry as a copywriter. I'm also a 90s baby and, most importantly, a huge pop culture enthusiast. So combining these two things is exactly what I aim to do in this podcast. From time to time, I'll wrangle in some guests to talk about their unique experiences, life lessons, and musings. Make sure to like, rate, save Bad Millennial wherever you get your favorite podcasts. And on that note, let's get into it. A bad millennial, to me, is one that goes against the stereotypes and even rebels and surprises when people don't associate them with the traditional definition. To me, it means rejecting the idea that we're all entitled and lazy, and instead embracing the fact that we're a generation that's trying to find our way in an uncertain world. It means recognizing our flaws and our mistakes, but also standing up for what we believe in and making a difference in the world. I've always felt a strong connection to the term bad millennial, and I think it's because I like to be a little bit of a rebel. I never quite fit in with the mainstream crowd, and I've always been drawn to people who challenge the status quo. So when I heard the term bad millennial, I knew it was something I could get behind. In this podcast, we're going to be talking about a wide range of topics that are relevant to millennials. We'll be discussing everything from dating and relationships to career and finance. And we'll also be hearing from a diverse group of guests who have their own unique perspectives on these issues. I'm really excited to be launching this podcast, and I hope you'll join me for the rest of the season. Millennials aren't just born, they're also made. There are so many cool millennials out there that have really made a name for themselves, paved the way. And yes, I'm really talking about celebrities right now since they are usually top of mind for me. Did you know some celebrities who are millennials include Beyonce? She just makes it in as one of our revered, respected elder millennials. She was born in 1981 on September 4th, so that's literally the beginning of the millennial threshold. Other awesome millennials include Rihanna, Taylor Swift, Ariana Grande, Selena Gomez, Lady Gaga. Younger millennials include Billie Eilish and Justin Bieber. Yes, I know I'm relating hard to the fact that these millennials are super famous A-listers who have really built themselves from nothing, but that is a story that everyone can kind of relate to. We start from the bottom and work our way up. No one knows who we are or what our passions are until we decide to work hard and deliver it. And honestly, I feel like a bad millennial is one that can get down and be a badass in whatever they choose to do. And our journey of self-discovery doesn't need to be defined by our successes or our losses. It really should just be defined by how we feel while we're doing what we do. There's so many things that I could talk about when it comes to being a millennial. Social media, for one, that could take up a whole 10 episodes, from the impact of social media on our daily lives, how we used it and it thrived during the pandemic, to the real harms that it can have on mental health, to how people are using social media to change and evolve the world. Social media has been huge in defining kind of the mid to later years of the millennial generation. I know growing up that, there was Snapchat, Vine, rest in peace Vine, beloved Vine, and Instagram was just like a newborn little baby. People generally were still on Facebook, posting their daily happenings, having a photo album for every single night out that they had. So we really grew up before technology was what connected us. So we knew how to have real in-person relationships, as well as, when technology advanced, we learned how social media could accelerate those relationships, whether people moved away from us or, we just became really busy in our lives. And it's really interesting how when we went through that whole pandemic, that social media was the number one connector, besides Zoom and video. It seemed like almost everyone was doing an Instagram live stream during those times, whether you were just talking to yourself or talking out loud to get your thoughts in order, to hosting dance parties, to filming ASMR videos, to even creating TikToks. We really seem to kind of get our mindset right by trying to connect. Social media really allowed us to reach out into the void when we were forced to stay at home and to stay away from people. Humans don't operate like that. Humans need each other. Social media gave us that. And in a way, it was a blessing to be able to practice self-care and also remind everyone that we're all in this together. We're all going through it, but you are not alone. Even if you're just watching a TikTok video or liking an Instagram post. I know that for myself, I actually started my own book Instagram, or as they call it, Bookstagram, at another reader account. And I really wanted to connect with the book community, be able to show off my favorite books, and also kind of hold myself accountable for actually reading those books and writing reviews. And honestly, throughout it all, I found that the most important thing to me about having that account was the community. The people that I reached and who reached out to me are so important to me. They continue to encourage me. They continue to inspire me, whether I'm posting weekly or just reposting other people's posts on my stories. I really enjoy being part of a fantastic community. Even through Bookstagram, I was able to partner with another account called the Book Solid Podcast. And we even did a podcast episode where we geeked out and reviewed our favorite book, 7 Days in June, which is written by Tia Williams. And that was so much fun. So actually being able to be on a podcast and having fun and kikiing about it was really cool and really helpful during a time where everything was remote. My job turned remote. We really weren't going outside much. And when we did, we were masked up, gloved up. No one could recognize us, okay? Like you could go out there incognito and nobody would know who you are or say hi to you because they don't know who you are. And I even joined online book clubs, and some authors would Zoom in, tell us how important the book community and Instagram community was to them. Like, it was so inspiring. It was really great times. And I honestly appreciate everyone who has continued to keep up with that and has continued to make these groups an important part of their lives and sharing the love on their accounts. You never really know how you can touch someone or inspire them or make them feel heard by what you do, whether that's outwardly on social media or just in your everyday normal actions, So yeah, everyone just keep being great, keep being you, because it goes a very, very long way. Okay, I'll stop preaching now, but really, in all seriousness, guys, keep on reaching out, staying connected, and letting your light shine in whatever you choose to do. Whether that's a professional goal, a personal goal, whether you're with a whole team or just by yourself in your apartment recording a podcast for the very first time and figuring it all out. That may just be me, but you know what I mean. The evolution of social media has been amazing, awesome, kind of scary, wild, and always interesting. And I'm excited to see where the future goes with social media. Also, I've got to ask you guys, which is your favorite social media platform to really be on? You know, like for me, I have to say Instagram is my number one go-to. Like growing up, it used to be Facebook because that's kind of like all we had, and that's what everyone was on, and you knew that everyone was connected. You could see their whole profiles. Like I was just right after MySpace became a really big thing. So Facebook was huge and you knew everybody from, preschool on. But Instagram, it was just so positive in the beginning, being very photo focused, and everyone just wants to show off their best selves, right? And then Twitter was kind of interesting, the little town hall where people are just screaming and yelling. But sometimes people have really funny, interesting tidbits that they share on there. And I've learned a lot through Twitter, especially since a lot of news organizations, influencers, and journalists go to Twitter first. I kind of feel like it's my daily newspaper. And I'm not sure what I'm subscribed to because the news seems to be different and ever changing every day I go on. But you know that there are some interesting trending topics that you just need to know. And Twitter's the go-to spot. There's also Snapchat, which was cool for a second. It's great for people who kind of like to share what's going on in that exact moment and kind of put the funny filters. Like Snapchat really came out with some iconic filters way before anyone else. So that was always fun. But then you'd immediately download that video and just post on Instagram anyway. And I really think Snapchat died when Kylie Jenner came out and was like, who's really on Snapchat anymore? Stocks tumbled, everyone keeled over, story done. And they've also had some questionable times and practices where they were really promoting some questionable and just crazy filters. And really, I don't know who's using Snapchat right now. Maybe Gen Z or Y or X or something adjacent to that. But yeah, I really don't have Snapchat anymore. It's definitely deleted off my phone. And then another big one I remember kind of getting into definitely has been TikTok. Like at first it was just really confusing because I'm like, okay, is this just a ripoff of Vine? But when I saw how creative and ingenious people became with it, and also the fact that I could learn so many new things on TikTok kind of blew my mind. Like, do you know that there's a proper way to break an eggshell and to cut a hard-boiled egg? I didn't. TikTok did. So TikTok has been that go-to place. And there's a lot of fun things on there. A lot of people are, influencers or want to be actors. And honestly, TikTok's best used when you're kind of just candid and doing your own thing. I've also really enjoyed some live streams where people are doing drag shows, performing karaoke, even live streaming shows from the 90s to ASMR videos, which are very relaxing late at night when you are like stressing before a big day or trying to de-stress. Like TikTok has been that go-to girl for everything. It's saying a lot. I don't know where the future of TikTok is going or what the future even holds for the app in the United States, but I will definitely say that it has been a mind-blowing life changer for so many people, and it will definitely mark a turning point in social media. All right, everyone. So that's been my Bad Millennial spiel for today. And I hope you learned something or at least had fun listening to me. And I'm so excited to get into more of the modern millennial mess, musings, and culture that has affected all of our lives, really. I cannot wait to dive into more topics and really get into the rest of this podcast. There's so many things planned, things are lining up, coming together, and I'm just having fun over here, really. Like, talking to myself isn't new, but having someone actually listen, subscribe, and maybe even share definitely is. So I appreciate all of you guys' support and for tuning in every other week for new episodes of the Bad Millennial podcast. Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of Bad Millennial. If you like this episode, make sure to leave a rating and a review and subscribe so you never miss an episode. Make sure to follow me at Bad Millennial Pod on Instagram for even more relatable millennial content. This is going to be good, y'all. Talk soon.